All right, so we should be good to go. You guys should be able to see me. Coach Borino with you on this lovely Tuesday. Every noon we get together live here in Real Estate Rockstars and we chat about success and money and prospecting and clients and problems, issues, victories and defeats, all the good stuff. It's good to have you here. Today I wanted to kind of theme it together because it is Valentine's. One of the things I wanted to talk to you about is how you can have a good, healthy relationship with your prospects, with your clients, with people you either plan to work with or you're working with currently. How to have a vibrant, healthy relationship. Well, I kind of exaggerated. The word love may be a little too strong, although it's kind of nice. And I'm sure some of you have current and past clients who actually love you. Double espresso today, actually, because we're going to spend some quality time together. So I wanted to give you 5 tips that if you incorporate in your marketing, in your communication, in your relationships, whether it's prospecting, following up, presenting, post-contract, either buyer or seller, buyers. We had a good rant last time about buyers, so I'm sure you learned your lesson, you guys, okay? So there are 5 things that I want to give you that will help you. I call it the 5 C's, 5 Borino C's. That would make it easier for you to remember. So let me give the first one, and probably the most important one, and that's confident. If you want to have a better relationship, if you want to attract more people, if you need more business or want more business, if you want to expand, or if you just want to feel and do better, confidence would be the first thing I would recommend you look at. And the funny thing is about confidence is it is not as much about who you are. It is about how you're perceived to be, where perception, in fact, is reality. Now, there's a dangerous zone on either side of confidence. And I'm going to go multimedia on you because we're broadcasting HD, full color. So I'm going to use some color on you so you can appreciate this. We are all set here in Borino Productions to improve and impress you guys out there. So let me show you what I mean. If you're on a top range or up of confidence, you're going to be perceived as arrogant and aggressive. A lot of salespeople, you know, the typical salespeople, traditional salespeople use that approach. It will kill your chances with most people these days. The days of those aggressive closing techniques and strategies, pushing forward, gung-ho, courtesy or connection be damned, are over. So that's the trouble number one. And a lot of new people who go through the basic Mike Ferry training or other sales training go out guns blazing like that and then crash and burn. And it's not fun anyway. And it's not enjoyable for you or for the other person you're talking to. So that's the upper. The lower is just as bad, and that's needy, desperate. You know, like me, like me, like me. You want to find the happy medium right here, where you're confident. And confidence simply means you feel good, you're in control. You are in charge of your life, your destiny. You control how you live your life, how you run your business. Very important. Work on your confidence. That would be the number one. If you're struggling, if there is something that's lacking in the connection between you and your prospects, you and your clients, this would be the number one thing we would troubleshoot if you want to work together. But that's something you can do on your own. Just evaluate how am I perceived, or even ask. Talk to your people. Ask them. Feel it out. And most of the time you already know how you feel and how you come across. If you record yourself, even better, because you can hear, do I sound confident? Do I sound like I know what I'm talking about? So that's the first one. The second one I'm going to give you, which is just as important, is competent. How competent are you? How well do you know your shit? How good are you in your real estate stuff? And there are 2 parts to it. Perception and facts. That means how you're perceived. Are you perceived as competent? I was at the dentist this morning. They're finishing up, you know, that big surgery I had. It's been a nightmare for months, but it's coming to an end. And I have a really good oral surgeon who's been taking care of me. Now, the cool thing about him, through his demeanor, his communication, his behavior, he doesn't have to show me diplomas. He doesn't have to prove to me where he went to school. He doesn't have to justify himself. It's because he's competent in his field. He knows what he's doing, and I trust him. Because all of this essentially leads to trust. So he's perceived as competent, but he also knows his shit, because he could fool me for a while. Everybody can be fooled once or twice at the beginning. But after a while, if he doesn't know what he's doing, I'm sitting in the chair, and you guys who know me, I am a chicken when it comes to dentists. You know that about me. Otherwise, tough guy, but dentist, not so much. So he has to know his stuff, but he's also perceived as such. It is both. You must know what you're talking about, and you must also know how to communicate it to the client. Now, if you overdo the communication, you're going to be perceived as salesy. You don't want to go there. It needs to be organic and natural. Are you with me so far? Is it making sense so far? Okay. So, number 3. Comfortable. And this is a pretty tough one. This is one of the toughest ones for me. Being comfortable in uncomfortable situations. There are times where you prospect and talk to an expired listing who has had 20 conversations with its agents. You will be talking to for sale by owners who has to put up with agents coming up with all kinds of bullshit stories just to get their foot in the door. You will be dealing with sellers who will have to let go of a property where they lived for 20 years. And there's a big emotional attachment. You will be dealing with first-time buyers who will be fucking freaking out because they have to write a deposit check for $20,000, which I've never done before. All these situations and dozens more create discomfort, emotional and physical discomfort to a lot of the folks you're dealing with. You as a rock star, if you want to create more business, more bonds, stronger connection, have to stay comfortable in spite of how they feel. You will have other agents freaking out. You will have a lender pulling their hair out. I mean, there's all kinds of explosions that will go on left and right. That's just the nature of this business. Sometimes it's like walking through a fucking minefield. You have to stay poised. You have to stay calm. You have to stay competent and confident and comfortable. You'll be sitting in front of the seller. Offer comes in. It's a good offer, but it's way less than they expected. They will have a freak out. They will have a meltdown. You stay comfortable, even if they're uncomfortable. That's the first part. That's the part 1. And part 2, and this probably was my biggest challenge, the level 2 is become comfortable with being uncomfortable. At the beginning, when I started doing expired listings, when I first expired, I had my first primitive package, really primitive. I will show you one day. I stopped at the front door. I pulled up in my car. I had my little package. My hands were shaking to the point where I had to let go of the package because my palms were sweating. And I spent about 20 minutes in the car. I didn't have the balls to get out. I could not find the courage, the strength to get my ass out of there and knock on the door. Can you relate to that? Has that ever happened to you? Do you know what I mean? Watch it and you can see and hear everything. So I couldn't find the balls. I could not find the comfort in being uncomfortable. And the emotions win, and the emotions take over. And here's the trouble. The emotions start controlling your actions. Your thoughts and emotions control your actions. If they do it continuously and consistently, you're fucked. That's it. It creates your destiny. It's over, Johnny. Be comfortable being uncomfortable. And be comfortable when others around you are not. By the way, that's a very attractive quality to have. If you stay poised, if you stay cool. Okay? So that's number 3. Number 4, connected. I do not like sales scripts. I do not like reciting scripts. I do not like being sold. Nobody does. You don't like it. I know I don't like it. We don't like salespeople. I mean, think, when you bought your last car, how was the experience? Fun, right? We don't like these experiences, especially high-pressure experiences, especially when it's a high-ticket item. So talk about house. Shit, that's a big deal. When somebody's trying to sell, when somebody's just trying to be the salesperson without being connected, it's an uphill battle and many times lost. Connection means you understand where your client is coming from. So just like the example, you talk to an expired listing. You understand that they have the right to be angry. You understand that they're disappointed and frustrated and confused and scared. And the way you develop that connection is through your communication. You ask the right questions. You become completely aware who these people are, what they're trying to do, and whether and how you can help them. You ever see these videos and sales trainings and coaches trying to convince you that you can get on the phone, talk to an expired listing for 5 minutes and get a listing appointment every single time. And if you're not, you're screwing it up. You're not following the program. The reason that never works and the reason I call bullshit is because there is no way a stranger on the phone can develop so much trust and connection with somebody over the phone in such a short time. Does it occasionally happen? Yes. Occasionally you click with somebody. Occasionally you go that far where you're able to set a listing appointment or you build enough connection with them. But most of the time it doesn't happen, so don't beat yourself up. The problem is it's a process. Baby steps. Develop the connection. Develop the trust. Go with it. Little step, step by step. Getting to know the people, really understanding. Now, I'm not saying you need to spend a vacation with them for 3 months in Bahamas and have a daily 3-hour session where you go a questionnaire from the time they were born to the time they're ready to sell. That's not what I'm talking about. It can happen quickly, but you cannot skip that part. Because if you're able to develop the authentic connection, the way you communicate, the way you behave, the way you're interested in them, where you don't put your interest in, I need this listing or my mortgage will not clear this month. It's about them. And you give them some time to come and to connect. With a genuine interest, let's see if I can understand. Let's see if I know what is it exactly that you want to do, what would be the most beneficial solution for you, and let's see if I can provide that for you. Plus, it puts you in a very strong position because now you're not chasing. Yes, you're passionate. Yes, you're optimistic. Yes, you're hungry for business. Absolutely, all that. But you don't chase the business. You're not desperate. You're cool. You're connected. And they feel the connection. Just like you and I have this authentic connection. Just like you and I can talk like this right now, and I love talking to you every Tuesday. I was up here already for an hour just fucking around waiting to be able to talk to you. You know what I mean? That will give you the opportunity if you build authentic connection. And the last one, let's see, 1, 2, connected, comfortable. Number 5, in control. Control. So that's the 5th C. Confident, competent, comfortable, connected, and in control. When I was at the dentist today, they were in control. I walk in, they tell me sign in. I follow the instructions. Come in, I come in. Take off your coat. I took off my coat. Sit here, I sat there. Open your mouth, I open my mouth. I do everything I'm told. Because I trust them, because they are connected, they understand my problem, and it's a big gap here is my problem. They're comfortable, and they make me feel comfortable because of that. Imagine that I would be sitting in that shit. I would be sitting in that chair. The dentist come in and his hands would be trembling. I mean, imagine that. Fucking jet out of there, you know? Competent, we talked about it, very competent, and confident. They know how to do it. They know how to get the job done. So it's easy for me to release the control, the need for control. Your prospects and your clients and your customers you're dealing with, future, present, the reason they hold on to the control so much, they try to be in control, is that steering wheel, is because so many times they got in the car with somebody who didn't know what they were doing. They were not of these or very little. And they were banging the car left and right. So they're like, holy shit, let me just grab the steering wheel. Otherwise we'd be in trouble. You know what I mean? But if you have these 4 in place, you take control, they will gladly release it to you. They'll be relieved to finally have somebody whom they can trust with, they can put it in their hands. Number 1, they don't know how to do it anyway. And number 2, they're relieved because that's who they're looking for in the first place. Somebody who knows all these things. Where all they have to worry about is the color of the new carpet in their new place. Because they know that this part of the transaction, getting the house sold, getting it sold for a good price and making sure that they don't get sued and everything goes smoothly, is in your hands, in good, competent hands. That's how you gain control. You cannot wrestle for it. You cannot demand it. It doesn't happen naturally. It has to be earned. But again, it can happen very quickly if you have the rest in place. Does this all make sense to you guys? Yes, you still need to hustle. Yes, you still need to work your ass off. No question about it. You're running your own business. But if you put these things in place, everything will be a hell of a lot easier, not to mention more profitable, more effective.